6. Feelings that we've had always dismissed. Some just tapped into it for the hell of it, but we found a way to resist. Cause it could get personal and flip, and I ain't tryna deal with all that shit. So we just keep it down on the low and keep it at a friendship level, that's it. And now I'm suppressing what's on my mind. You should bring thoughts to me one more time, and maybe we'll get caught up in the moment and come out the closet, you and I. Live and learn this what's up there. In the back of our mind there's always something there. But we're alone in here and the music's blaring. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Is I don't really wanna compromise friendship, but I got a thing for you, yeah. Ay. And I don't really wanna cross the line, but I'm kinda really hoping that we do. Low key, we been keeping it low, but to keep it real. Low key, I've been thinking about showing you how I feel. Low key, baby, don't resist, it's alright to be. Low key, if the father starts, then I think we should go with it. Low key, we been keeping it low, but to keep it real. Low key, I've been thinking about showing you how I feel. Low key, baby, don't resist, it's alright to be. Low key, if the father starts, then I think we should go with it.
Sometimes I get these thoughts at night, yeah. At night. But I wonder if it's worth the time, yeah. You don't tell me how you feel, no. So I tell myself this dream ain't real, no. But I can read your body language, your mannerisms changing. I think I know exactly what that means. But you know I gotta be for sure. Jump to come before. So I'm just gonna keep it low key.
We've been keeping it low, but to keep it
low key.
I've been thinking about showing you how I feel. Low key.
It's about to be low key.
I think we should go low key. We've been keeping it low, but to keep it low key. I've been thinking about showing you how I feel. Low key. Baby, don't resist, just alright.
Resist, no. So we should roll with it.
I really think we should roll with it.
We should roll with it.
We should roll with it.
We should
I really think
roll
we
with
should roll
it.
with it. I think we should
Roll with it.
Okay, keep it low for me, baby.
Good afternoon and welcome to Brunch and Budget on Bonfire Radio with your host, Pamela Capallet, a certified financial planner here to help take the bite out of your budget. Brunchandbudget.com. I'm your sound provider, Dialect, and here's your host, Pamela Capallet.
Thank you, Dialect. Happy Sunday, everybody. We got one
Shana Tova, everybody.
Oh, yes. It's Rosh Hashanah as well.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Woo! And it's a beautiful New Year's Day. We lucked out, I guess, and fall forgot that it was fall or something. I don't know. But so today we actually have a very special show. We have Thomas from ClearPoint Credit Solutions on the show, and we actually have a Bonfire Radio member who is going to have a live credit counseling session with Thomas. So we are very, very excited to have them both on the show. And Thomas, are you there?
I sure am. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much for coming on. We're very excited to have you. Before we get the Bonfire Radio member on, I just wanted to have you give our listeners an idea of what ClearPoint Credit Solutions does. I feel like there's a lot of people out there who are in debt, who have a lot of student loan debt and credit card debt, and they're not exactly sure who to turn to. A lot of my Brunch and Budget clients actually ask about whether or not they should be consolidating loans, who to go to, and there's a lot of, I feel like, predatory debt consolidators out there, and I feel like ClearPoint Credit Solutions is a great sort of antidote to that.
Yeah, we definitely see that a lot, and especially over the years as the nonprofit organizations have merged and their names have changed from what they used to be called Consumer Credit Counseling Service of, put your city here. Mm-hmm. And the names have changed over the years, and I think that's kind of been confusing to consumers in a way because they don't really know exactly, which ones are legitimate credit counseling organizations and which one are for-profit debt settlement companies or loan consolidation companies or what have you. So
How
definitely, yeah.
Oh, sorry. How can a consumer tell the difference, I guess?
Sure. There's a couple of ways. First of all, you can always go online to nfcc.org. That's the National Foundation for Credit Counseling. The NFCC.
Okay.
Mm-hmm, yeah, NFCC is the longest-running nonprofit credit counseling trade organization in the country, and all the member agencies have to be nonprofit. And they all have to be accredited. All the counselors have to be accredited. So if you go to nfcc.org, you will reach a nonprofit credit counselor, regardless of what area you're in. It will refer you to the nearest physical location as well as to organizations that can help you by phone or online anywhere in the United States.
Wow, that's a really fantastic resource. nfcc.org, everybody.
Right.
Yeah,
National Foundation for Credit Counseling. Another good way is to go to bbb.org, so our friends over at the Better Business Bureau, just to make sure that any company you engage does have a good reputation there. ClearPoint is a system-wide member of the Better Business Bureau, and we also sponsor some of their educational content on their website as well. And then you can always check with your state and just verify that the company that you're engaging is a certified nonprofit agency in the state where you're located. So those are some ways that you can, and if it's for housing counseling, you can also go to HUD.gov, that's HUD.gov, to make sure you're in contact with a HUD-approved counseling agency.
Oh, that's really fantastic. That's really, really great. Those are great resources. Thank you. And what kinds of services specifically does ClearPoint Credit Solutions offer?
Sure. So ClearPoint Credit Counseling Solutions is the result of a merger of organizations over the years. We now have 52 branches across 16 states. It's the second largest credit and housing counseling agency in the United States. And we have been in business for 50 years. We just celebrated our 50th anniversary. So we've been in business since 1964, and as part of the celebration, we're actually doing a giveaway. There's actually no strings attached or anything to that. So if any of your viewers want to go to mylifeafterdebt.org, and if they have a story to share on there, they can share either text or video, and they can be entered to win either a $1,000 monthly drawing or a $10,000 drawing this at the end of the year, just for sharing their experience and telling what life after debt either would mean or has meant to them. So that's kind of a fun little social media-based exercise that we're doing right now as part of our 50th anniversary.
That is really cool. mylifeafterdebt.org.
Yes. I'm going to that tonight.
Me too.
I'm going to drop a rhyme on that. I got lots of stuff about debt.
Who couldn't use an extra $10,000? Seriously,
Yeah.
I mean that would pay off a large chunk of most of our clients' debt. The average client that comes to us has between 7 and 9 credit cards and upwards of $20,000 in credit card debt. So,
oh, wow.
If there's anybody out there that's struggling with that sort of mountain, that would go a long way to help pay that off. But so to get back to your original question, ClearPoint is traditionally known for as a traditional credit counseling organization to help people with unsecured debt, credit cards, and we also are a housing counseling agency, which means that we receive grant money from HUD to help people with prevent foreclosure and help them keep their mortgages current. And to help them, stay in the home and as a home retention tool that consumers can use, and that's at no charge to consumers. It's already paid by tax dollars.
Oh, wow. That's really fantastic. And I know that there's a lot of listeners out there, and a lot of my clients actually, who feel pretty stressed out about their student loans. Do you have any student loan debt services, and how can you help someone who's $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in student loan debt?
That's a really good question, and that is something that we've just recently launched, is student loan counseling as well. It is provided at no charge, and the initial flow is very similar to credit counseling, where we take a look at people's whole financial snapshot. So we're looking at income, assets, creditors, monthly housing and living expenses, and then we take a look at in addition, we take a look at their student loans specifically to see what type of loans they have, if they're eligible for any sort of modified repayment plan or change in their payment plan, and then advise them on how to speak with their lender about that. Because a lot of people find that the servicers are kind of abrupt to work with. I mean, I've called my loan servicer before, and they're not super helpful. So
and they all know, they all seem to know different things, and sometimes they're right and sometimes they're wrong, from what I've found.
Right. And I found that sometimes they don't volunteer information. So if you call and ask about a specific program, they'll give you information about that, but they might not give you information about something that you don't ask about, even though it would fit your situation. So that's the biggest part, is just making sure people understand what their options are based on their loan and their situation.
Got it. That's fantastic, because I do know there's just been so many different student loan forgiveness programs that have come out recently, and it just feels like there's so many rules and strings attached to all of it. So to be able to have someone just walk through exactly what to ask is so critical.
Right. It really is. And we're really hoping to help people through some of our other programs and expanding the student loan counseling program. We're really hoping that we can get to people sooner in the process, so that they're thinking about those things like starting a 529 college savings plan, early on for their dependents, and making sure they're aware of scholarships that are available to them. So we are looking to expand that to try to catch people earlier in the process, so that we're not only talking with them when they're in a crisis.
Gotcha. That's awesome. Just preventative, right? Let's not just go to the emergency room. Yeah. No, I love that. And then in terms of, I know that there's some debt consolidation resources and tools that you have. Can you talk a little bit about that too?
Sure. So when we go through credit counseling, we screen all of our clients for what's called a debt management program. So all the national creditors and many of even the smaller regional or local creditors have concessions that they give consumers who go through credit counseling in the form of reduced interest rates and reduced payments.
Oh, wow.
To help them get out of debt within a reasonable period of time. So a maximum of 60 months. And what we usually see, and I think hopefully we'll see this today when we do the session on air, is that we have a lot of consumers who come to us with very high credit card, not only balances, but interest rates sometimes in the low 30s.
What?
And if we can get those interest rates down to a reasonable number, it really helps them repay off that debt within a much shorter period of time and able to experience debt-free living.
Wow, I didn't even know interest rates could go above 30%. I've never seen that before. That's just something they can do. Credit card companies. There's no limit.
We sometimes see them in the low 30s, and then of course we have some people come to us with the payday loans or the title loans, and they could have interest rates anywhere in the hundreds of percent. So, those are the really scary loans.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we're going to go to a song in a second, and then we will dive right in to the credit counseling session, so you and our Bonfire Radio member just have the maximum amount of time to sort out her credit situation.
Before we get to this song here, I wanted to reiterate some of the websites that you were talking about. It's nfcc.org. Your Better Business Bureau, which is bbb.org, the HUD, HUD.gov, and MyLifeAfterDebt, DEBT.org, which I know that I'm going to go to and y'all ought to go to maybe win some money and at the very least get to complain to each other about the debt that we all been in. But anyway, we have, to uplift ourselves, we got the Visionaries with If You Can't Say Love, and we'll check you back with the Bonfire member getting a live credit counseling with ClearPoint Credit Solutions here on Brunch and Budget on Bonfire Radio.
Since you ain't
always here,
I even
wrote the song,
and all of
time we shared.
And if you can't
say love,
will
prevail,
and even
love will overcome,
and all of
evil will fail. And if you can't say love,
since you ain't
always here,
I even
wrote the song,
and all of
time we shared. And if you can't say love, will say it for you. Travel the globe and tell everybody that aim love towards you. The feeling's better than base drums. I'm not the only person that's able to read the letter on your face, son. I'll make an alternate ending. It would all be worth it if I were to fall for defending the love on my 12 inches of love that's unselfish. Above all the hellish because of your well wish. Always here.
I even
Wrote the song.
and all of
Time we shed. And if you can't say love, will prevail.
and even
Love will overcome.
and all of
Evil will fail. And if you can't say love,
situation.
always here.
I even
Wrote the song.
and all of
Time we shared. And if you can't say love,
justice
will prevail.
and even
Love will overcome.
and all of
Evil will fail. And if you can't say love,
It all starts with job love. Eradicate the hate. We got a Phillips head in a case for your screw face. Brought a new pace. Embrace grace. Cut the chase. Know our place in a world of anger with piles of waste. We're some do-gooders with the filtration. We're Mexican, Islander, Euro, African, Asian. Celebrate creator before creation. Division we're erasing.
Patiently taking all day waiting for the complications to cease and the nations to do as we've done. Replacement killers love a good fight. A good night kiss takes the queen but protects the king's life. While worldwide peace is just a figment, and now is where we're living. We can hold on to the vision, do our ancestors right by our decision. Thanksgiving to the most for the host of believers in this ghetto child's achievements through all of bereavements. We are
always here.
I even
Wrote the song.
and all of
Time we shared. And if you can't say love,
justice
will prevail.
and even
Love will overcome.
and all of
Evil will fail. And if you can't say love,
situation.
My wife is love, impossible not to write this love and fight this love, but a fight for what's inside my blood and beliefs. Passed through my ancestry and family tree, from my grandparents to my parents to me. Help me get through the dark when I could barely see. Thank you for taking care of me and caring for me. This one goes to those who show us LOVE.
Don't stop saying what love, I'll say it with you. The music that we make and working out the kinks and issues. I'm seeing how the scene needs variety arts. Just applying good ethics, and love is where it starts. Got a lot of love though, from musicians to the fans. Walk a life in many circles, understood in many lands. Feels good where I stand, much higher to go. Take the time to say peace, see you at the next show.
see you at the next show.
Situation.
Always here.
I even
Wrote the song.
and all of
Time we shared. And if you can't say love,
justice
will prevail.
and even
Love will overcome.
and all of
Evil will fail. And if you can't say love,
situation.
always here.
I even
Wrote the song.
and all of
Time we shared. And if you can't say love,
justice
will prevail.
and even
Love will overcome.
and all of
Evil will fail. And if you can't say love,
situation. I even and justice and even I even and all of and justice situation. I even and all of and justice and even.
Welcome back to Brunch and Budget on Bonfire Radio with your sound provider Dialect, your host Pamela Capalit, and today we have a special credit counseling going on. Thomas Nitzsche of ClearPoint Credit Solutions. Oh, I said that terribly. I said his name right, but I said the company too.
That was the easy part.
Usually
of the
backwards,
company.
right? I can't say ClearPoint. ClearPoint Credit Solutions is here going to give a live. You know how sometimes on the radio show you have cats come in, kick a live freestyle? We have even more better. We have a live credit counseling session about to happen with one of our wonderful and favorite Bonfire members.
Yes, and I feel like this is like, Thomas, this is like your version of freestyle, right? Live credit
I
counseling?
guess it's as close as it gets. I can definitely say that it's not something I've ever done on the air before. I mean, we're monitored all the time internally, but it's not something I've ever done on the air, so it's exciting opportunity.
Yee, so excited. Awesome. So basically, for all you listeners out there, Dialect and I are going to shut up for the next 30 to 40 minutes and let Thomas do his thing with the Bonfire Radio member Kim. And Kim, are you there?
I am. Hello.
Hi. Thank you so much for doing this. Welcome to the
Oh,
show.
thank you.
We're very excited. And yeah, Thomas, if you just want to give everyone an idea of what they are going to experience for the rest of the show, and then you guys can take it away.
Sounds great. Well, Kim, thanks so much for volunteering for this opportunity. I think it's really exciting, and I know we're both a little bit nervous because we've never done this before, but we're going to try to give people a really good idea of what to expect when they contact a nonprofit credit counseling agency like ClearPoint Credit Counseling Solutions or any of the other nonprofit organizations that operate throughout the United States. There's about 200 of them that are NFCC accredited organizations that operate nonprofit credit and housing counseling agencies. So thanks so much for doing this with me today.
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
Awesome. Well, I know it's a difficult first step for a lot of people to make to pick up the phone and talk to us. So even more so in your case, since we're doing it for others as well. But and I know some of the information that we go over is going to be stuff that we may have already touched on prior. And we've also already gotten anything that was personal information from you, as far as any contact information we've already received from you. But just to give you a quick little overview, ClearPoint is a 501c3 nonprofit credit counseling organization. We've been in business for about 50 years, since 1964, and we are system-wide with the Better Business Bureau, and our counselors are accredited by the National Foundation for Credit Counseling. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be working with you to review your unique financial situation and together review options and alternatives that you may have to determine what's in your best interest. And that's going to include a budget review, looking at your secured and unsecured debts, assets, and liabilities, and then any specific goals that you have in mind and where you see yourself in the future, and try to help you work towards those goals, okay?
Okay, great.
And then I also want to know if it's okay if we have your permission to pull a copy of your credit report so we can review that with you during the process. And this is a soft pull on your credit, so we'll have little impact or no impact on your credit report or score, okay?
Yep, that's fine.
Awesome. Thanks so much. We'll go over that here in a little while. So I know this is something that you've shared in the past with Pam when you talk with her, but can you talk a little bit about your short-term goals as far as why you decided to take advantage of this opportunity with us today and what your short-term goals are?
Well, I just pretty much feel like I can never get caught up, that there's always something there that throws a wrench in my plan. And I want to be able to get caught up. I want to be able to have a workable budget month to month. It feels like I'm always trying to figure out if I'm going to have to pay this bill or that bill. And it causes a lot of stress.
Sure, I understand that exactly. Was there anything that happened recently as far as a specific event that might have caused you to feel like you came to a crisis point, or is this sort of cumulative over time?
Not so much recently, but my husband's employment has changed in the last year and a half. He worked for Walmart for 17 years and was let go, and his employment's been pretty hit or miss since then. So that has a lot of effect on it.
Sure. Well, I know how that goes. I was laid off in 2008 myself, and that can be a really hard time to survive. And sometimes it's hard to remember that there's life after that place that you worked before, and there are other things ahead. So I appreciate you sharing that. As far as any of your long-term goals, or let's talk about like if your finances were totally healthy, what sort of things would you feel like you were working towards if you weren't feeling like you were juggling? What sort of long-term goals do you have?
Oh, just honestly, family vacations and time off from work, and just being able to not worry about work so much. A lot of times I work and then I bring my work home with me, and I would just do fun things with my family. It would just be my family time. Great.
Okay. Sounds good. And then can you share with us what your family composition looks like as far as who's in the household?
It's just my husband, myself, and I have a 5-year-old, Alex.
Oh, okay.
I have 2 stepsons, but they're 23 and they're on their own.
Okay, understood. So they don't live with you?
No, we still do things together and we still help them out a little bit, but they're on their own. Yeah.
Understood. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get underway. We'll start taking a look at some of your financials and we'll go from there. So you are employed full-time, right?
Yes.
Okay, and then you gave your income information earlier, and I just want to clarify this to make sure it's in here correctly. We have a take-home net pay of about $2,400 a month, not counting some additional income. We had some other income of $500 a month, and Then we had one other note here. I saw that we had $100 a month from a second job. Is that separate from this $500, or was that included?
No, it's separate. I do direct sales for 31, and that's just kind of, you do direct sales, you do shows, you work it when you can and as time permits. And I kind of have a goal of just earning at least $100 a month through them to help pay on my roof payment, is why I started with 31. And some months I make a little bit more than that, and some months I make a lot more than that, but other months I make a little bit less.
Understood. So the $100 a month goes towards a roof payment, which I'm assuming was for a roof that you've already had put on and you're making payments on it?
Yes.
Okay. And do you make it to the contractor, or is it on some sort of credit line?
No, it's directly to him. There's no interest involved. There's no nothing. There's good merit.
Oh, great. Wonderful. Well, I always like to hear no interest. That's music to my ears, right?
Right.
Okay, and then you mentioned some perks from work that you get, and when I totaled all these numbers up, it came to $658 in various little perks you have as far as reimbursements on gas and cell phone and whatnot. Does that sound about right, $658 total?
Yeah, yep.
Okay, and then that's also not counted in this $500 or this net number from your regular income as well, the $2,400, that's separate?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add all that up, and we're just going to put that under other income. So what happens is after our credit counseling session, you'll be sent a packet of information, and the information will go over everything that we've talked about. And so when you see the other income, that's what that represents.
Okay, you know what? The about $400 of that is included in that $2,400.
Oh, okay.
So to add additional, it would only be like $258 and a change.
Okay. All right. So let me adjust that in here a little bit. $258 and change. And then, does your spouse have any income right now, or do you count it in your budget?
That's pretty much the secondary that I threw in there.
That was the $500?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Understood. Okay. Let me just adjust that then. So we're going to add together the $100 from the 31 gifts, the $500 from spouse, and then approximately an extra $250 from perks at work.
Right.
Because the $2,400 had some of that in there, right?
Yes.
All right, sounds good. So we're going to go with a final number under other income of $850. All right, and then I'm just going to open your budget here. You've submitted some of this information previously, so we were able to port some of that over. I'm going to confirm all of that, and then we'll make any changes as we need to, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So first, you do own, correct? You own a home?
Yes.
All right. And from what I could tell, it looks like you've been there for a little while at least, because you paid the loan down a little bit, right?
Yes. 1998. I bought my home.
All right. And your taxes and your insurance are escrowed into your mortgage, from what I understand. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And your total payment is about $716 a month for your mortgage, including taxes and insurance?
Yep.
All right, great. Do you have any homeowner association or condo fees there?
No.
Okay, great. All right, then I'm just going to clarify on some of the utilities. So the way we split it out here is we need to take a look at, and I know you mentioned that some of these were behind, so we're just going to try to get an idea of what your average monthly usage is going forward.
Okay.
So can you tell me for like electric and gas, how much those typically run, or if we can get an average in here for your budget?
I would say gas around $100 a month, and I would say electricity about $120.
Okay, so for normal usage on average for those two, we're going to total that up for $220. And do you pay for water, sewer, or trash?
I do. I pay for all three of those.
Okay, and not counting anything that's past due, can you tell me what the average on those runs for water, sewer, trash?
The water bill is about $75 every 3 months.
Okay.
The sewer bill is around $100 a month. And the garbage bill is about $20, $18 to $20 a month.
Okay, so I've got water works out to about $25 a month. The trash is about $20 a month, and then sewer you said is about $100 a month?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you guys, what sort of area are you in? Because your sewer bill seems to be high. Are you in like a kind of a unique situation there?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and add those all up together. So for a total there, we've got $145 monthly for water, sewer, trash.
Okay.
All right, sounds good. Any alarm system at the house?
No.
No? Okay. And then how about for home maintenance? Can you give me an average what you think annually you'd have for home maintenance? Of course, I know you have a roof, and that's kind of not an every year expense, so we won't count that. But anything that you have on an ongoing basis annually?
No, there's some things that need done. I mean, average, there's paint. I would say maybe $100 a month to cover things just to take care and maintain.
Sure.
I guess.
Okay, let's use that. And then right now, are you able to put any money into savings?
Very little. A little bit here and there. Yeah.
Okay.
I do put it into savings. It just doesn't stay there.
It doesn't stick. I understand how that goes, sure. How about for communication costs? Let's talk about, we've got cell phone bill. I had $190, is that right?
Yeah, my cell phone bill's high.
Okay. How many lines do you carry on it?
There's 3 on it.
Okay. And then it's for you. Oh, sorry, that was for who again?
One's just a basic. My dad's actually on my plan.
Oh, okay.
And then just mine and my husband's. But I have a pretty big cell phone plan because of my work.
Understood. Okay, and then who do you go through for your cell phone plan?
It's Verizon.
For Verizon. Okay. And are you under contract right now, or do you know?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And then
we'll probably for another year or so.
For about another year?
Mm-hmm. They're really the only company around here that gets decent service.
Okay, understood. And have you been able to, because again, like you mentioned, it is kind of high. Have you explored that with them at all as far as any options they may have for you for trying to reduce that cost? Or maybe if one of the lines is only a basic plan, are there any sort of prepaid plans that your dad could use that might be cheaper?
Well, just about maybe 2 months ago, I called them to see about lowering my bill. And by enhancing my services and adding a new plan they had, this actually cut my bill about $20 a month.
Okay.
The one that my dad carries, it's $10 a month, and he pretty much just throws me a 10 every now and then. So that's not really included in it. It's really just all the use that I have with it through my work and personal life.
Gotcha. And since you're in an area that's really only serviced by that one provider, you probably feel a little bit stuck then if that's the only provider in your area.
Mhm. Yeah.
Understood. Okay. Well, again, like I mentioned, it just is a little high, so definitely keep your eyes open. If any other carriers start having service there, you might try to, use the competition to your advantage and try to get that down a little bit.
Okay.
Any cable or internet that you pay for?
I do. Yes. My bill is $200.51 a month.
$200.51. Okay. And then who's the provider?
It's called Buckeye Cable System.
Okay.
Again,
and
there's no other choices, really.
Gotcha. Is that cable, internet, and home phone, I assume?
Yes.
Okay. And do you find that you use all those services?
I do. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. That was just another one that seemed high. I mean, I know that you probably don't have a choice since you're in a more rural area, I take it, correct?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
I did call the cable company to try to get my cable bill lowered, and they kind of just laughed at me.
Oh, okay.
That didn't go well. So, yeah, unless I got rid of cable, but then that would raise my home phone and my other bill to make it just as much.
Gotcha. Does your home phone or your cell phones work at the house or no?
Yes.
Okay. Are they unlimited or no?
Yeah. Yes. Pretty much.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Well, here's one thing that I might suggest doing, and I only suggest it because I've done it myself in the past. What I had to end up doing was actually eliminating home phone. I just used cell since it was unlimited. And then I actually got a Skype number. So with my internet, I was able to use a Skype number where I could actually make calls on that number as well through the internet.
Okay.
And then what I did for entertainment is I got the Chromecast on Amazon as well as an Apple TV. And, you know, if you're somebody that uses Apple, you might be familiar with the Apple TV, but it allows you to basically download movies as well as access other services like Netflix and Hulu Plus and all those. So in the end, I found that it was really worthwhile just to drop the cable and the home phone completely because it made such a large dent in my budget. So if you've not explored those alternative services before, like the Chromecast and the Apple TV, using things like Netflix, you might look into that and see if that was something that you'd be willing to do, and hopefully you could still at least get local channels through your old-fashioned bunny ears or something.
Okay.
And do you know how much it would cost just to have internet? Or, yeah, just internet?
I don't. Honestly,
okay.
No.
No problem. I'm just going to go ahead and put in here a ballpark figure as something that we discussed doing and you could consider. And we'll say that, you know, if you just had internet, maybe $80 or something like that.
Okay.
All right. And then on the budget, under contractual obligations, I put the $100 a month, which was for your roof payment. So when you see contractual obligation, that's your roof payment, okay?
Okay.
All right. So let's go ahead and scoot on here. Your medical is all included in your paycheck, right, as far as insurances?
Yes.
Okay. And then are you currently making any payments on any medical bills?
I have some medical bills.
Okay, but they're not in repayment?
Well, I make small payments on the ones that I can. There are some that I'm behind on.
Okay. Are they with
medical bills?
Okay. Are they like with collection agencies, or are they still at the doctor's office, or where are they?
No, they're still at doctor's offices.
Okay. Now, one thing to keep in mind, if you do experience any medical bills, even if they're not very big, always check with the provider and see if they have any sort of financial aid. Because even if you're a relatively high-income earner, they will sometimes, if you can present a case and show that you don't have much money at the end of the month after paying your obligations, they may actually reduce a portion of that bill. And this is especially true for hospitals. I had a bill a couple years ago that was about $1,800, and just by applying for financial aid, they knocked 60% of it off. So
okay.
if you ever experience something like that, try to make sure you do that, and before it goes to collection, because once it's sold to a collection agency, they won't be able to help. But if the bill is still with the original provider, make sure you ask about financial aid and apply. Even if you don't think you qualify, it's a really good idea to apply because you might qualify. And even if you don't qualify, it might give you more time to repay it. For example, in my case, they told me that if I did not qualify for the financial aid, that even the act of applying and be denied, that would allow them to extend my repayment to 2 years instead of 1 year. So it helped me. Even if I would have been denied, it would have helped me.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. And again, there might be some resources that I mentioned during our call today that you may want to jot down. So if you've got a pen and paper, I'll be giving you some information that you may want to jot down as far as phone numbers or websites, okay?
I'm jotting.
Awesome. All right, so let's talk about car payment. We've got, it looks like, I guess, one car payment, about $528?
Yes.
Okay, and it's just the one payment, right, for one vehicle?
Yes.
All right, and do you guys have to pay for any parking or tollways?
No.
Any public transportation costs?
No.
Okay, and then for gas, we had $100 in here, but I'm thinking that might not have included what your company was paying for. So if we include just everything that you pay for gas, even if your company pays for it, can you tell me how much that is a month?
It's between $250 and $300 a month. I drive a lot.
Okay, so we'll split the difference. We'll say $275. How's that sound?
Okay.
And then for car maintenance and registration, you indicated that was about $100 a year?
Yeah, for the new
okay.
registration. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'll just divide that by 12 to give a monthly number. And then is it just one vehicle, or are there any others in your name that are paid off?
No, it's just the one.
Just the one. Okay, great. Okay, and again, this is not a criticism, just an observation of your budget. You've got a car payment of about $528, which is a little high based on your total take-home. Was that something that you had to buy because of the family growing, or did you upgrade recently to a different vehicle, or what's the story with the car?
I upgraded to a new vehicle because I had a 2011 that I had 120,000 miles on. And
oh, wow.
I was going to have to put a lot of maintenance money into that.
Mm-hmm,
and my employer does pay a portion of my car bill. So it just looked like it was the time to turn that one over before I had too many problems. And actually, this new vehicle is only about $35 more a month than what I was paying for my old one. And I have 120,000 miles bumper-to-bumper maintenance on it.
Okay, great. All right, sounds good. I'll just make a note then. All right, and then do you have any child care or tuition costs?
No.
Okay. Any child support or alimony payments that either of you either make or receive?
No.
Okay. Any student loan payments?
No.
All right. And then for groceries, including household supplies, about how much a month do you think that would be?
I guessed around $500 a month. It varies.
Okay.
I use coupons.
Well, that's definitely a good thing. And it looks like if you go to the USDA's website and kind of plug in what your family's comprised of, it looks like that is about the average as far as on a thrifty plan for groceries. You're looking at about $500, $550 a month in groceries. So I think your estimate's probably pretty accurate.
Okay.
Like you mentioned, it is a great idea to try to take advantage of any cost savings you can, though. If you've got I know here they do like a $50 Friday off or something when you buy a certain amount of groceries on a certain day of the week. They'll give you money off, or coupon clipping is always great.
Right, yeah.
And then kind of related to that, we've got some funds in here for dining out. We've got about an average of $250 a month.
Yeah, that unfortunately is probably a low number.
Okay.
But it's what we do. I cook all week long. We work long hours. On the weekends, we eat out.
Sure, I understand. Now, I definitely get that, and that was, for me, that was a really big budget buster, too, was when I totaled up my dining out. It was much more than I thought it was, and something that I had to correct as well. So I would say that you definitely have to reward yourself, and the weekend is a break, from your daily grind for sure. But look into things that you might do as far as find out when your local happy hours are at your local restaurants. Try to go during those hours. One that I use a lot is restaurant.com. If you're in a rural area, it might not be as easy to use because it's typically independent restaurants, not chains, and there just aren't as many of those in a lot of rural areas. So I would check that out, as well as any Groupons that might come up, that sort of thing.
The thing that really kind of adds to that, to be honest, and I know this probably isn't right or typical, but we do still meet with my stepsons every couple weeks, and we go to a sit-down restaurant, and now they have girlfriends or they're married and they have a kid, and honestly, we pay because we don't see them very often, so this is a way of us all getting together.
Right.
And, that's crazy budget there, but it is what it is.
Well, and I understand that, and you know what? That's what's important is those relationships and the time. It's not necessarily what you're doing or where you're doing it. So maybe put your thinking cap on and see if there's maybe some things that you could do, taking lunch out somewhere during the nice part of the year, going on a picnic lunch somewhere, or going to some of your favorite destinations and taking your lunch, your dinner with you, or whatever it might be, grilling at home, grilling at one of their houses, whatever it might be. Because I know when you start talking about, 6 or 8 people, you're talking about a lot of money when you start going out, especially if it's not during a happy hour or something.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would just try to get creative with that one and see what you guys could do that would still give you time together, which is the important thing, but that wouldn't present a financial hardship for you.
Right.
Do you guys give any allowances to kids?
Whatever change he can find laying around the house. He's only 5.
So that's just a couch dive.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, and then how about clothing expenses? What would you say for, and I know that's probably not something you do every month, but maybe on an annual basis, how much do you think you spend for clothes?
Honestly, that's very low right now because it's really just school clothes kinds of things for my son, and probably like new work shoe kind of things. Maybe $300 or $400 a year.
Okay.
Maybe 4. I would say probably 4.
All right, let's go with that then. All right, do you pay for any dry cleaning or laundry, or do you do it all at home?
Nope, I do it at home.
All right, and this might be wishful thinking, but any cleaning service or that sort of thing at home?
No.
Okay. How about for a barber or beauty for getting hair done and stuff?
Not as much as there used to be. I would say maybe $100, $150 a year. If you wanted to be honest, I would say $200.
Okay. Honesty is important. We want to be real with our budget here. All right. Let me just plug this in just a second. All right. Do either of you smoke?
No.
Okay. Anything for alcohol?
Every now and then.
Okay. Just in the grocery budget or going out?
Yeah. No.
Okay. All right. And then how about for any travel as far as trips that you make that aren't paid by work or vacation annually, that sort of thing?
We take long weekends at least 2 or 3 times a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say probably, $300 to $400 a time, so maybe $1,000.
Okay. Let's go with $1,200 for the year. Then I'll just divide it up to $100 a month on average.
Okay.
And then again, some of these things are things that you only do once a year, and I encourage people whenever possible to open an account for those sort of things, like vacation or Christmas or whatever it might be, and to have that money direct deposited into that account so that at the end of the year or whenever you're expecting to go, that money's there and you're not having to scrape it together or put yourself in a financial bind or put it on a credit card, that it's just already there. So if you have anything like that, I definitely recommend setting that up with your bank or your employer to have that money direct deposited in there for you.
Okay.
All right. Let's talk about any medical copays or prescriptions, any glasses.
There's all that.
It looks like I had a number here, about $80 a month on average.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, that's what I had up your phone for earlier. Sounds good. All right. And then for, I think this was for hobbies. This might have been for your son. I had $20 a month. Do you know what that was for?
Oh, yeah. He plays different sports, and it's about $60 every 3 months or so.
Okay. I remember that. I didn't make a note of exactly what it was, but I know that it was something related to your son. How about for pets? I had $40 a month. Does that sound about right on average?
Yeah, I have a big dog. She goes through a lot of dog food.
Okay. How about for gifts, like Christmas, birthdays, that sort of thing? Can you tell me on average what you might spend for a year in a year?
Oh, boy. I spend a lot on Christmas. I bet you I spend $1,000 to $1,500 for Christmas.
Okay. Do you do Christmas Club or anything like that, or how do you usually pay for it?
I start to. I've got a few layaways going right now, and I kind of wing it. That's pretty much my plan for that.
Okay. Well, I'll give you a little tip that worked for me to help reduce that cost and to not make myself so frazzled in December. Is I started doing online shopping with Amazon Prime and with a site called bradsdeals.com. I don't know if you've heard of that site before, but what they do is they post deals from throughout the internet on their site, and then they link you to it so you can get to it real easily, and it's all in one place on their site.
Okay.
So what I've started doing is every couple of weeks I'll go on bradsdeals.com, and I'll just kind of think about people who I buy for at Christmas time, and if there's something on there that I think that they'll like, I might buy it in July or June, and
right.
And just have it until Christmas and wrap it up, be ready to go. So, think about what you can do with that, because like $1,200 divided up is about $100 a month. So if there's anything you can do to help organize yourself and reduce that cost, it'll help you out in the long run.
Okay, I have a question for you. Amazon.com, because I do use them a lot.
Yeah.
And I did have the free 30 days Prime shipping, but I can't justify paying for that. Is that a good investment as far as that? What is your thought on that? Because it's, $80 a year?
Well, here's the thing about that is that I don't know if you received it or not, but a lot of times after you let it cancel, they'll send you an email asking if you would still like it, but at a reduced cost. You might look through your.
For me.
They did not. Okay, you might check your spam box and see if it maybe went to your spam mail or something. But I think you'll find that over the course of the year, that the discount that you can obtain by buying those things on Amazon versus through a store, by the time you count your time to go get it and your gas money to go get it, and then how much you pay for it at the store, I think that you'll find that over a course of the year, if you do enough of that type of shopping, that you'll make that up and then some.
Okay.
You know, you might track it for a couple months and see how much you spend on items that you could have bought online. So do kind of a comparison and say, okay, well, I could have gotten this on Amazon for X amount, but instead I went to the store and I got it for this amount. And then add a couple dollars for your gas, since that's, you know, we're pushing $4 a gallon in most parts of the United States. So, you know, add a few dollars for your gas, and then after a couple months, do the math and see if it makes sense for you or not.
Right, which I have a few times I've ordered off of Amazon, because you're right, my time and my gas and all that was just way more important than getting on there and paying a little bit for shipping. Yeah. Yeah,
and that's something that they do emphasize on Brad's deals as well, that they tend to you know, put emphasis on those deals where you're getting the free shipping too. So you know, maybe check that side out too, especially when it's gift ideas and you're not sure what to get someone. And then, you know, the other thing too with gifts, and I'm just going to tell you this from personal experience, but for me, especially the holidays and birthdays, it was always about who I was spending the time with and what we were doing together, less than it was about anything I was getting. You know, if you asked me for memories from 10 years ago, what I was doing at Christmas, I don't think I'm going to mention one physical item. I'm going to mention who was there and, you know, who's passed away since then, or, you know, I'm going to have memories about people, not things. So, you know, if there's anything that you can do that you know, if you can show your affection in other ways through hosting something or giving something handmade or homemade, or you know, giving somebody a coupon for an afternoon with you to do X, Y, Z, I think that might help you as well, and in the long run, be more memorable for the people you're giving your gifts to as well.
Right. It's I'll be honest, Christmas is my thing. I absolutely love buying gifts for people, and some of it I do ahead of time, some of it I don't. But that is, I love that. And to be honest with you, I am probably the first person knocking down the doors on Black Friday. That is my thing.
So it's probably doing more for you than the person you're giving.
Yeah.
Better to give than receive. I certainly understand that.
That's going to change.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. So, how about any health club memberships? Any gyms?
No.
Okay. Do you all play the lottery?
No.
Okay. And then for vacation, I actually put that under travel. So let me move that. I'm sorry. Let's move that from travel to vacation. Some of the stuff's changed since the last time I used it. All right. And then that's pretty much it from my list. Is there anything else you can think of that you've got on a monthly, quarterly, or annual basis that we've not talked about yet?
No. I know, like, this year, my license and registration and renewal and all that's due. And they raised that around here, I think, because it's $200 straight up for that. So, yeah, $200 extra this year for that.
Okay. Let me make that adjustment here then. Okay, so let me total this up and see what we've got so far. Before we get to any unsecured creditors, we're just looking at budget versus income right now.
I don't think this is looking good.
Okay, so what we've got so far is we have total income of about $3,250 per month. We've got total expenses of about $2,732. So it's leaving us with about in the neighborhood of $500 to play with. That's for any extra savings or dealing with your unsecured debt, catching up those utilities that might be behind, and that sort of thing. And that reminds me, before we go on to your credit cards, let's talk a little bit about the utilities. Since we asked about the usage earlier, we want to talk about the part that might be behind. A couple of them I know you mentioned were past due, right?
Yes.
Okay, which ones were those that were past due?
Oh, Lord, just start listing them. Pretty much gas and cable and, gas and cable and the sewer bill pretty much right now. Yeah.
Okay. So, and have
once I get behind on them, then they get large, and then it just feels like you can't catch up on them.
Sure. Have you talked to the utility companies at all about the portion that's behind, or not yet?
Yeah, they're really not that workable. They're
not workable. Okay. Well, there's a couple other resources out there. Oh, they always want their money, of course. So let's talk about a couple of other resources that might help you, and if not you personally, then hopefully some of the folks that are listening in. There are a couple of agencies out there that can assist with utility bills. One is by trying United Way, the 211 service in your area, and they may have programs that will help you with utility payments that are in the arrears, as well as the St. Vincent de Paul Society. So you might check with those and see. I don't know what their income requirements are, if any, but I know in the case of the medical bills that I was really surprised at how high the income limits were. So you might check into that and see if they have any resources for you besides going through the utility companies directly.
Okay.
All right. And then as far as the cable bill, I'm thinking that one, if you look into it and you decide that that's just not something that you can afford right now, you may have to kind of split that shortage up into some payments. But if you adjust your service going forward and just do like the internet, for example, that should lower the bill and still give you a little wiggle room to make the extra payment to catch that up.
Okay.
All right. So let's take a look next at the credit report and your unsecured debt. So what we did is we get a soft pull of your Equifax report. So we'll just do one of the reports, just Equifax. You can get all three of your credit reports annually for free through annualcreditreport.com. So that's annualcreditreport.com. And that site will take you over to all three credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, and it'll show you what's reporting on all three of those. They won't give you the score for free, but they will offer to sell it to you, obviously. I can tell you that on your Equifax report, it came back with a FICO score of 492, so 492. The main issues noted were some delinquency, balances being too high to the limits, some accounts not being open long enough, collection activity, that sort of thing. So those were some of the reasons mentioned, and that's the score it gave us, 492. So we'll talk a little bit about things you can do to help improve that.
Okay.
All right, so first thing we'll go through, and the credit report comes in sections. It has collection accounts and then accounts that are current and then any public records. So we'll take those one at a time. So it looks like we had a collection account here. It was originally $1,655, but it only has and this might be a month old, so if this isn't completely accurate, keep in mind that this information could be up to 30 days old. It shows a balance of $58. The original creditor was HSBC Bank. Do you have a collection account that you've been paying off for HSBC with a collection agency?
No, that's taken care of, I believe.
Oh, that's done. Okay, no worries. It still showed a small balance, but it might be old information.
What was it shown as the balance?
$58.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that's done. Yeah.
Okay, so what you'll want to do is when you go to annualcreditreport.com, make sure you dispute this, that it has been paid in full. If you have any record of the final payment or something, you can, keep that handy or include it. But do dispute it because you don't want to be penalized for something that's not accurate, okay?
Right.
All right. Let's see. We have another one here that was a medical for $397, one for $32, and one for $100. Does that sound right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. All right. And then those you're just kind of paying to the those are you're paying as you're able to, or do you have any structured repayment set up with those?
As we go would be my system on that.
Okay. And then if you're already in collections, do keep in mind that sometimes the collection agencies will accept a settlement. So if you're able to contact them, and on this one that's $397, let's say you have $200 that you could put towards it, you might offer them a settlement and say, will you resolve this? If I pay you $200 today, will you accept it as a settlement to resolve the account? And if they accept that, that would be a way to resolve that debt and get it marked as paid on your credit report.
Okay, I have a quick question. I always thought if you settled with people on that instead of paying the full balance, that would be another bad mark against you. Does that affect your credit rating at all? I mean, I know mine's kind of in the hole right now to begin with, but does it make that worse, or what does it do?
Well, sure. If it were on a credit card or something that was a current account, so something that's not past due yet, and you did a settlement, it would damage your credit because typically you have to be in default in order for them to settle. So if you were to take, let's say, one of your credit cards that are current and try to do a settlement on it, first of all, the company probably wouldn't accept the settlement on it until it was past due, and then once you went past due, it would have damaged your credit. Now, in the case of accounts that are already in collections, at that point the damage has been done. You're really just wanting to get it resolved. So whether you settle it for a settlement of partial payment or a full payment, either way, it's going to show on the credit report that it's been paid.
Okay.
It will be noted that it was a settlement, but it's either way, the damage to the score has been done by the time it's in collection.
Right. Okay.
Okay. All right. So then moving on to the more current accounts, we've got a Chase account for about $1,300. Does that sound right?
Yep.
Okay. And the monthly payment on that is how much?
I'm paying. I want to say almost $100 a month.
Okay. And that looks like it is pretty much current, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other account that you had mentioned on your form here was a Discover. I'm assuming that's in your spouse's name because I don't show it on your credit report. Is it Discover in his name?
No, it's in my name.
Oh, it's in yours? Okay, let me look again for it.
It's a Discover Matrix card.
And it's for $482?
Yep. $485.01 to be exact.
All right. Well, that's interesting that it's not shown on here, but that's no problem at all. Besides that, it looks like there's a small, it may be paid off by now, I don't know, but there's a small balance on I'm sorry, no, this was sent to a collection agency. You had a Cap One account that went to a collection agency at some point. It might be resolved by now. Okay. All right, and then any other credit cards?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. So one of the things we talked about earlier was the debt management program. In your particular case, it may not make a whole lot of sense since you don't have very much credit card debt, but I will explain how it works, okay?
Sure.
So with the debt management program, for clients who go through the credit counseling process with a certified credit counseling agency, creditors will offer you a reduced interest rate and often a reduced payment, as well as waiving any late and over-limit fees if you agree to a structured repayment through the nonprofit organization. In your case, it looks like the Chase with a balance of approximately $1,296, they would reduce your interest to 10%, and they would want $39 per month.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay. In the case of Discover, where you have a balance of about $482, they would reduce interest to 6.99%, and they would want at least $15 per month.
Okay.
And you indicated that the current interest rate on both of these accounts is about 29.9?
Yes.
Okay. So if we do the math on that, according to the minimum, based on the minimum payments and the interest rates that you're currently paying, it would take about 120 months to pay off the two accounts if you only make the minimum payments, okay?
Okay.
All right. If you put them into a debt management program with the reduced interest rates, it would allow you to pay them off in about 28 months, so just over 2 years. And that's if you just made the minimum payment. If you're able to pay more, it's going to reduce the amount of time, but it will also reduce the amount that you pay in interest, obviously.
Sure.
Now, the debt management program does carry a fee. It's based on the state that you reside in. In your case, the client fee would only be $4.80 per month. So that's good. We also put a few dollars in what's called a payment cushion. The payment cushion allows us to negotiate on the monthly payment if what I've quoted you is not enough to satisfy the creditor. For example, Discover might come back and say that they need $17 a month instead of $15. So instead of turning around and calling you back and discussing it and getting more money from you, I'm able to just take that $10 that's in the payment cushion and use some of that for Discover to satisfy their increase request. It happens frequently enough that we've just decided to start putting a payment cushion in everybody's debt management program. If none of the creditors ask for any extra payment cushion, we send the money to them anyway, but we just put it in here to reduce the amount of back and forth with you as the client.
Okay.
Okay. So if you total all that up, including client fee, payment cushion, and payments to both of the creditors, you have a total of $68.80 per month.
Thomas, sign me up.
and you can always pay more than that, but that would be the minimum that the creditors would accept. If you're able to pay more, that would be great because you'd be able to pay the debt down sooner. You wouldn't need to be in the program the full 28 months.
Sure.
Okay. All right. And then if you do in the meantime get any other line of credit, you want to be sure that you use that very carefully. You are able to keep one line of credit out of the program for emergency use, but you'd want to be sure not to put too much on it so it doesn't show maxed out, because that can sometimes screw up the program if they see that you have other lines of credit that you're using. You just want to be sure. And in general, you want to keep any credit card, you want to keep under a third of the limit as the balance. So let's say you get a credit card that has a $300 limit. You want to be sure that you don't put more than $100 on it at any given time, okay?
Okay.
What that basically shows is that you're not stretching yourself too thin. So it'll help your score. All right?
Yep.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about assets. Let me get those in here. I'll talk real quick first about your secured debt. That secured means that it's secured by either an item or a deposit. In this case, you've got a secured loan with, I guess it's Ford Motor Credit for the car?
Yes.
Okay. Shows a balance of about $32,258.
Mhm.
All right. Do you know how much it's worth?
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to just give me a ballpark? Do you think it's a little less than you owe, probably?
Yeah, I'm sure it's probably less than I'm guessing. I don't know. I'll say 30,000. I don't know.
30. Okay. And you said you just got it. You got it this year, right?
Yes. I've only had it since May.
Okay. Okay, great. All right, and then for checking, we had a balance of about 140. For savings, about 25, and an IRA for 60,270.
Yes.
All right, and then there was a note on here about the IRA. I guess you had rolled it over not too long ago, and you showed how much you had rolled over.
We did that when my husband lost his job at Walmart. It came from his 401k there, and we rolled it over from Merrill Lynch and invested it, and that's, the difference between last year and this year. We made almost $6,000, I guess.
Oh, great. Okay, and do you have any like 403B or 401k or 403B or anything at your current employer?
I have nothing.
Okay. Do they not offer it, or do you just not contribute to it?
They're a small family-run business. I've worked for them for 22 years, and they just don't offer it. Understood.
Okay. Now, do you have any other accounts as far as like college savings fund or any other accounts that we need to note?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay. All right. Now, do keep in mind, once you get more comfortable financially, that is something that you probably want to look into as far as looking into a college savings fund. I know, my niece was just born this past year, and as soon as she had a social, my mom ran out and got her a 529, just because, if you plan on having a dependent that goes to college, the cost by that time is going to be so high that you want to try to give them any leg up possible. So once you've got this other stuff under control, hopefully you can turn your attention to that sort of thing. ClearPoint has also recently launched what's called My Financial Blueprint. And My Financial Blueprint is designed for those folks who have finished paying off their unsecured debt and who want to look towards other financial goals. So once you're done with your debt management program, you might consider talking with a counselor about the Financial Blueprint program. It's basically a financial improvement plan that it provides you with resources to build a long-term financial foundation and help you achieve important financial milestones. And what you're assigned a personal financial architect, and he will help you set goals that strengthen your overall financial well-being, manage risk, expand your buying power, build assets, that sort of thing. So looking at things like creditworthiness and mainstream financial relationships, increasing your regular savings, any emergency use savings, education planning, retirement planning, and those sorts of things. So keep that in mind for once you're finished with your debt. You may want to consider that as well.
Okay, thank you. Do you think we'll be finished with my debt at some point?
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, compared to most people, most people that come, the average client that comes to ClearPoint has almost $20,000 in unsecured debt. So, you're definitely well under the average on your unsecured debt. In your case, it's mainly, I have to be honest with you, in your case, it's mainly just the budget. It's mainly a budget issue. Looking at trying to reduce those items that you don't absolutely have to have, at least until you're in a better place financially. And I like to tell people that no financial decision is necessarily forever. So just because you cut cable, this year doesn't mean that you're never going to have cable again.
Right.
It just means that right now you've got some other financial priorities and that come higher than that. So that would be my best advice. So what we'll do is we're actually going to print out all this information that you've gone over with us today, as well as our recommendations and the referral information that we've given you today, and our suggestions. And then we'll also send you information on the debt management program. And we'll send that all to you at your home address. You can take a look at it. If you decide that you want to enroll for the credit cards, you can send that information back into us along with your monthly statements, and we'll get that set up. We'll send information to the creditors to get that set up. Monthly payments will start to be made through ClearPoint to your creditors to get those two paid off. And then at any time you can follow up if you want to go through the budget again with us, after you've made some changes and see where you stand. According to what we have here, you should still have a small surplus, not very big, but a small surplus. So in your case, I think it's really mostly a matter of tracking your expenses. So using your bank account, or use mint.com is another good one, mint.com. And they even have an app that can help you track those monthly expenses. We will mail you a paper copy of a monthly worksheet where you can track your expenses. I would recommend that you do it for at least 3 months to see how much is really coming in and how much is really going out. Because I think, in your case on paper you look pretty good, but I think in reality you've got some holes in your budget that we've just not uncovered yet.
Okay.
Or maybe we have uncovered, but we don't know to what degree you're spending in those categories. So I think you probably have some categories that we've gone over today that are not accurate. So what I would do is track that spending for 3 months, do a follow-up with us, and see if we can't get your budget in better shape as far as that. And then, because based on what I'm seeing, there really isn't any reason. If these numbers were accurate, there's absolutely no reason why you should be behind on any utilities or any other payments for that matter. So I really think that in your case, it's primarily a budget issue. It's not so much a creditor issue as it is a budget issue.
Okay.
Okay? But that said, it would help you to get the lower interest rates on the credit card. So by all means, take advantage of that program if it will help you. We'll send you all the information on enrolling, and you'll select a day of the month that payment comes out, and then it gets dispersed to your creditors each month. We didn't talk much about the status of your mortgage. Is it current?
Yes.
Okay. Have you had any problems making the payment, or has it stayed current recently?
I got behind 1 month, once or twice, in all the time I've had it since 1998. Recently, I have been behind, but not so far that I couldn't catch up.
Okay.
And it is current. Owe, but yes, it's due on the first of the month, but quite honestly, I don't pay it till the end of the month, and that's always been, but that's because that's the way my paychecks fall, and that's pretty normal for my mortgage.
Okay. Well, so in that case, if you feel like that's something that you're in danger of perhaps doing again, if it's been happening a little bit recently, I would recommend that you speak to one of the housing counselors here. ClearPoint is a HUD-approved housing counseling agency, so they can talk to you a little bit about your mortgage and what things you can do to help keep that current. and they can screen you for programs that you might be eligible for through our housing department. So that is paid for by the HUD, the Housing Development. So there's no charge to you for that. So I'll send you some information on that as well, and if you'd like to speak with a housing counselor, you can certainly give us a call, and we can get you connected and make an appointment with them, okay?
Sure.
I hate to cut you guys off.
No, we're fine. You were just under the wire.
Oh, perfect. Thank you both so much for doing this. Kim, you are the bravest woman ever.
Thank you.
Hats off.
Yay! Can we do a bonfire clap up in the studio?
Yes.
Yay! Kim, you were incredible. Thomas, you were really fantastic. And these tips were really great. I just want to go over some of them right now. Brad's deals, going on there to look for stuff. Doing your Christmas shopping throughout the year, looking up stuff every couple weeks. Annualcreditreport.com, the only website where you can get your free credit report with no strings attached.
Annual credit report, not free credit report.
Yes, funny enough, not free credit report. And also just considering letting go of your cable. Kim, I also want to call Buckeye Cable Company with you together. Seriously, that's ridiculous that they're laughing at you.
I would absolutely love that.
I would jump on the phone with you and jump down their throats.
Great. We'll make that a plan.
Over the phone. The hospital bill tip, that was amazing. Negotiating with the original provider and asking about financial aid. Even if you get denied from applying for financial aid, they might still be able to extend your payment time, which means that you can lower your payments and take more time. These were such great tips. And also that debt management fee, $4.80 for lowering your bill. That is amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah, that was really fortunate. That just happens because of the state that she lives in. Because in some cases, it's a flat fee that would not make any sense. In some states, it could be as high as $50.
Okay.
And we would only recommend it if you're going to see that savings back in interest. So,
right, of course.
if somebody comes to us with 6-digit debt, then we might say it's worth it. But in this case, that would make no sense if there were a $50 fee.
Right. So don't move, Kim.
Don't move. That was at least not until your program's set up.
Okay.
I love it. So, thank you again, both of you, for doing this live on the air. Thomas, I didn't realize this was the first time you'd done this, so you did amazing. I wish you could have seen our faces in the studio while you two were going on. We were just like looking at each other.
I've done it many hundreds of times, just never for an audience.
Yeah. This was really fantastic. Oh, and then the other thing I wanted to mention, if you're behind with your utility companies, you mentioned United Way 211, and then what was the other one that you had mentioned? I didn't catch it.
The other one is St. Vincent de Paul Society, so that's Catholic Charities.
Okay.
Got you.
Oh, that's great. Okay, St. Vincent de Paul Society. That is great. And I will be putting up all of these tips and resources on brunchandbudget.com. Just because they were so freaking good. They really were. Thank you both so much. Kim, again, amazingly brave. I know you helped a ton of people. You were so honest and real, and we really freaking appreciate it, and we appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas.
We'd like to thank everybody for listening today. Big shout-outs go out to Thomas Nitzsche of ClearPoint Credit Solutions and Kim Bravery for being the baddest woman on the planet here today.
Kim Bravery.
I mean, shoot, I know I don't have the tasty quiches to be putting my credit out on the air like that. Remember to check out nfcc.org to make sure that your credit counselor is a credit counselor and not a giraffe or something like that. And mylifeafterdebt, DEBT.org, to possibly save some money on the debt you got and at the very least kvetch about the debt you got.
Yes, you can win $1,000 or $10,000. So share your story. mylifeafterdebt.org.
I mean, and even if you don't win, it's going to be good to share your story.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good to feel like you are not the only one, because you're not.
Same.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Absolutely not. And for those people that still need help, the My Life After Debt will get them over to our website as well.
Oh, perfect.
Exactly.
Beautiful. And it's easy to remember. Oh.
Did we
Did we lose someone?
Did we just lose somebody?
Uh-oh. I think we may have lost Thomas.
We may have lost Thomas, but
Yes.
but he did his work before
He did
was
his
gone.
work just in time. All right. So, I guess we're taking on the last song. I'm in a bit of a just.
Well, yeah,
my head is spinning.
we've
This
gone
was
into
incredible.
overtime. This
We
has
have.
been crazy. All this extra stuff. Again, Kim, you're the best. And this one goes out to you. This is the Living Legends with Never Falling Down, and we'll see you next week with another very special episode on Brunch and Budget on Bonfire Radio.
Oh my gosh, Kim. Hi, hold on one second. I'm going to try to add.
Ever falling down, 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 ever falling down, ever falling down, 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 ever falling down.
Even if I was blindsided by Mack trucks on a side street in an alleyway in a foreign city, I'd still make it back home. On a highway, no bulletins, no street signs, no other cars, no radio, no satellite, I'd still make it back home. Connected to the universe like a string of lights on a holiday. If one's out, doesn't mean the demise of all who roam the stone. For the earth child with the fire, water, and sky under his toes, under his blows, under his belt. This the Orion sets the tones. I'll never regret the way canals of birth shot me forth on my feet, not my fins. I am a man to finish it out. Don't forget gravity laws, only thing keeping me from flight. Wings of space, infinite night, downward spiral, not in sight. Never, never.
Ever falling down, 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 ever falling down.
Wait, there's no father, it's her and her offspring. Nobody's offering help, skin ain't softening, axe chopped to the ankles. Her baby's coughing, maybe the check will come today, the weight's exhausting. She's a pillar, so she can't be tilted. Give her sons the feeling as though they got $1 million to blow. Need no stilts to reach the stars. Teach the kids to reach with their heads and they each will be yours. I give a piece of me for her to have a peace of mind. Or a piece of your chicken cause it's ramen all the time. She's thin and getting scared but she never lets on. Many men will not fall cause they mama's head. Strong, 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 strong.
Ever falling down, 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 ever falling down.
Pick your feet on up, why don't you get on up? Lift your spirits up, damn I know this shit is tough. I flunked in high school, my pops he left me young. I often lost my cool days, I fear my mama's gun. I lost my only son when my girl she almost died. A bad abortion, haunted by a baby's eyes. And every reason lies, cause you know the truth inside. You're feeling like a coward, like the wrong person died. But still you gotta ride, let the years pass on by. Never really knowing why, no questions why I'm always high.
Down,
Damn,
down, down, ever falling down. Down, 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 ever falling
Look,
down.
we slipping and sliding, 808 kick riding, serving rocks, balling while they conquering and dividing. Teeth glistening, shining, listening to ourselves, lying, believing the bleeding ego, still trying. Identifying with the why and the what's. Self-hating is the scars and the cuts that run deep down. Not giving a fuck behind the sweet sound of the new blues. Rattling the truck from the sunroof to the new shoes. Chrome, neglecting the home. Disrespecting the zone that Sankofa should have shown us. Looking back before the times that they owned us, but never really owned the damn thing the spirit sounding like.
Ever falling down, 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 ever falling
I'm
down.
hella irresponsible and possibly the cause of my subsequent downfall. Now I take a pause and reflect on my karma and laws. I've ignored all the signs that could cause a turn and redirect my preferred course of action before they curse in my ashes. The rehabilitation of the baddest on the planet was set a mark, a milestone of progress. The life-changing tones of why heart and soul mean the most. Learning forces me to search and exhume all my skeletons. A room full of demons with an angel as a prisoner. She's torture for the visitors, the listeners who read between the lines and stay inquisitive to dissect the sentences.
Ever falling down, 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 ever falling
Last night I took a field trip, kinda bent, hopped the fence, cut across the playground and laid down in the cemetery. Reflecting on my past, present, and current events. Speech slurring, I vented to the moon, swear she was answering me. Not literal, but in a spiritual sense. We spoke, me, myself, and I, but I wasn't alone. In fact, it felt like that picture of a beach with footprints and the sand. You know that poem hanging in grandmama's home? Where does love come from? Where does it go when it's gone? What takes its place and why does that space turn hard to stone? Another year I am older today. In many ways I've grown, but in my head them questions still they roam. Riding a bike, she said it's like cycling in circles with your eyes closed and no hands. Blind faith is what she called it, man. Said life's an ocean with a lot of commotion. Once you dive in, yeah, it's deep, but if you can swim, it ain't mattering.